We're going to have a little bit of an interactive session. For those of you who know me, I love to weave in as much improv as possible to my presentations. So I'd love to hear your questions through the session as I go through it. And when one of our chairs watch the chat for me and bring to my attention questions, who would be willing to do that for me? Would it be Sherwin or? Okay, Sherwin, you good? All right. If you see any questions, please bring them to mind. Otherwise, raise your hand. And we're going to talk today, as Catherine said, about evaluations. Joe just gave an amazing, technical, detailed explanation of how to put a story together, an amazing story. And as you put these into your speeches, you will be standing in front of the audience and getting evaluated, hopefully with specificity coming back at you, with support and encouragement. Like I said, I love improv. It took me a long time. It took me 19 years to actually advance in the evaluation contest, which, by the way, everyone, what do you know that there's that contest coming up this spring? The speech evaluation contest and the international speech contest. So these are the two contests District 4 is sponsoring this spring. So get involved is my message to you. And you'll hear a message by Tony about how to organize the contest. So stay tuned for that. There's a lot more about this. But as you're giving these great stories and giving your speeches, you're going to be evaluated, and you are also going to do the evaluation. So how do we do this well? I'm talking about specifically what Toastmasters evaluations at Toastmasters clubs of Toastmasters speeches, and also evaluations for the speech evaluation contests, evaluations done by speech contest contestants of the test speaker at the speech contest. So there's two different audiences we have here. We have the audience in the Toastmaster Club. We have the audience at the speech contest. Who's in the audience at a contest? How does this differ? We have judges at the contest. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. So we have the Toastmaster Club audience, audience 1. We have the speech contest audience. That's type 2. I'd also like to invite you to consider the audience beyond Toastmasters, outside of the Toastmasters Club. How do you evaluate people there? How might you bring the skills that you're learning and practicing and honing inside of Toastmasters and take them outside and serve the world with what you do? So those are the three audiences we'll address today. Sound good? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. Like I said, it took me 19 years. That's in the title. Once I put together what a speech evaluation is, so we're at the what stage. What is a speech evaluation at a Toastmasters club? It's specific. It's supportive. It gives feedback in real time to the person who's just torn their chest open and showed us their beating heart and shared their life with us in some way. And now we have the tremendous task and the honor of taking that information and creating an impromptu speech. And you basically have the amount of time as a table topic to give this impromptu speech, which needs to give feedback, showing that you were listening. It needs to make them feel good. It needs to be motivating. It needs to be inspirational, a little bit of teaching perhaps to the rest of the club. I think evaluation is one of the most overlooked positive features of a Toastmaster club and meeting that there is. I invite you to take it a little more seriously perhaps than you're doing if you're thinking of it as well, I'm just giving feedback back to them. I invite you to think about how you can up your game with your club speech evaluations at this point. So what is it? It's an impromptu speech. It's giving feedback, and you're doing it with the purpose of being motivational and inspirational. Well, if you're going to up your game, if all of us want to up our evaluation games, what do we need to do first? I invite you to decide to do it and commit to finding out a way to do it. And then you can succeed in doing it. But you really need to start with the decision, the mindset that says, I'm going to take this a little more seriously. How can I make my speech evaluations better? All right, well, great. So you've decided to do it. Where's the next thing? You need to know the rules of speech evaluations at the club level. So what are the rules of speech evaluation at the club level? Type it in the chat if you know, or anyone want to raise their hand and tell me what are the rules? Where can you find? How about where can you find the rules of speech evaluations at the club level? Anybody?
The sandwich method.
Okay, the sandwich method. That's very good, Greg. Thank you. It's a structure. That's the structure, the basic structure that you learn. It's let's give them something that they did well, something in the middle that they could improve on, and then end with something that they did well, right? Sandwich method. I'm pretty sure everybody on the screen. Ken, where else would you find the rules?
I think one thing that's missed is the evaluation form. Too often people just read the front page and maybe the back, and they miss that the third page is the information specific to the project.
Yes, exactly. So everyone on the call here, be aware that yes, thank you. I see it, Kat, in the chat. The objective of the speech. Every Toastmaster club should be striving, I hope, to give a manual speech, a project speech, if you will, pathways speech, with speech goals at every meeting. And that is what the evaluator needs to get a hold of and take a look at before the speech, before the speaker speaks, and then to evaluate specifically to those goals afterwards. Now, you can do the extra for experts where you contact the speaker ahead of time and say, oh, Ken, I see you're doing pathways level 1 speech number 3. Well, these objectives are here. Is there anything else, Ken, you'd like me to look for as you speak today? Anything you'd like me to not address in front of the audience, but maybe one-on-one afterwards in a conversation? You can do that as extra for experts, but you definitely want to address those speech goals during the meeting. And another thing, Joe alluded to this with storytelling. It depends on the evaluator, I suppose, how much they know about the speech, but it is easy to find something wrong with the speech. It is easy to make a long laundry list of, well, you could do this, you could do that. Eye contact, vocal variety, you didn't move. This is where I invite you to narrow your focus. Remember, the sandwich had one thing that went well, one thing that could be improved, one thing that went well. Pick one thing that they could do next time. The one thing, in your opinion, if they do that, their speaking ability will take a jump forward. The one thing that they could do. Go into depth on that and focus on that and give them feedback on that. In other words, narrow your focus on your feedback, because less is more. Anyone heard that one? Less is more. When you squeeze in so much information to your speech, your audience gets squeezed out. What I mean is they'll be overwhelmed. They won't connect. They'll be just, if you get up and give a long laundry list of what they can do to improve, nothing will stick. If you pick one thing that you truly feel in the good of the speaker that they can do to improve, and go deep on it, give them an example, act it out for them, then it will help them to up their game. So be specific, be supportive, give them something they can really get their teeth into that will advance them and help them to move forward. So knowing the rules, where to find that, you find that on Pathways site, right? You find that in the speech. Get an advanced copy. Know what the project they're doing. Get their speech evaluation. Talk to the speaker. Okay, so knowing where the rules are. Step 2 or area 2, if you want to say. Yes, expert. Find an expert to talk to. Find an expert to talk to. In your club, isn't there somebody who does evaluations well? You know how to give me a thumbs up. Isn't there an evaluation champ or two or three? Watch them, talk to them, ask them what they're doing, ask them how they do it. When I joined my Toastmasters Club at the Xilinx back in 1999, there was a old grizzled Toastmaster. He looked like a Harley Davidson biker. Not anyone that I would have normally said, oh yeah, I want him to be my mentor. But I came into the club, asked for a mentor. I was assigned Toby. And I was so glad because I would show up and watch him. And one time he evaluated a terrible speech. Anyone ever seen a terrible speech at a Toastmasters Club? Oh yeah, you don't have to admit it. But I was sitting there, and I had been a Toastmaster about 2 years. I was still a baby, a fledgling, and I watched the speaker, and I knew Toby was evaluating. And I thought, I'm so glad I don't have to evaluate the speech because there is nothing good about it. You don't have to admit it. You ever thought that? It was challenging to find anything good about the speaker. Then Toby got up and he showed me he had been listening to the speaker. He had been in the moment with the speaker. These are improv principles, by the way. He said, yes, I hear what the speaker is saying, and I know what the speaker's goals are. I know what level the speaker is at. The speaker was a beginner. He was new, needed encouragement. And he came in with the attitude, I'm going to make this speaker look good. I'm going to encourage him. I'm going to motivate him. And with that mindset and that skill set, he had listened and he was able to repeat back what the speaker had said and done well. He was able to pick something and demonstrate. I think it was a physical move. You could try this. And overall, I sat back in awe and said, that was the most amazing evaluation I've ever seen. Because he had taken someone who was struggling, or just like I said, opened his chest, showed us his beating heart, was very vulnerable to the club, I'm trying to say, to come in as a new speaker and sit in front of all these other accomplished Toastmasters and just try something for the first time. And Toby was able to hold that person and show them that they had done well and what else they could do to do well. Watch experts is my point. Learn from them and aspire to be like them. Talk to them. And then finally, practice. You're going to want to practice. You're going to want to practice your evaluation skills. You can do this at the club meeting, obviously, by being an evaluator. How many of you give feedback to the other speakers, the ones that you're not evaluating? Maybe those, remember in the old days, they had these little tiny forms about the size of a fortune cookie. We used to call them fortune cookies. They were beautiful because you really had only amount of space to write one thing and one good thing, depending how big or small you wrote. Does anyone write feedback for the speakers that you're not evaluating? Beautiful. Why not do that as a way to practice evaluation? Next time you watch another speaker speak in your club, write down one thing that they did well and one thing they could do better, and text it to them if you're online. Yeah, good. Kat says we use the fortune cookie still. Exactly. Write down one thing they did well, one thing they could do better. And even put your name on it if they want to come talk to you. Or put it in the chat if you're meeting online of the Zoom meeting. But start building your muscle, your ability to observe and give that feedback to people who you aren't assigned as an evaluator to. That's one way to practice. Another thing, thanks to the pandemic, one silver lining is that there are a lot of speeches out there now, a lot of club meetings. You can go find a speech and just evaluate it for fun and see how you do. You could even perhaps compare it to the meetings evaluator if they've recorded that and shown it. But practice, find a speech out there and practice. And it doesn't have to be at your club. It could be online or another club. All right, so that's the club audience. Commit to get better. Find those rules, use those rules, limit your evaluation to the speaker, to the speech goals, talk to the experts, and then practice. That's for the club audience of evaluation. Any questions on that? I'm going to move on to our contest. Seeing none. Let's move on to our next audience. It was contests, the contest audience. The contest audience for a speech evaluation is different. And I noticed this the most when I went to my first district speech evaluation contest. And I sat there and I thought, I was always taught that we were supposed to make the speaker look good. But here, all the speech evaluators, they're trying to get attention to themselves. They're showing off. They're doing all these little extra dance moves and stuff. How can they win when they do that? Anyone ever think that? Okay, Tran. Thank you, Tran. Then I learned this. It's a speech evaluation contest. The speech evaluators are the star at the contest. That's probably the biggest thing. Knowing that you, the contestant, are the star, you still have to make the test speaker look good. Yes, highly agree with that. However, you need to shine a little more. You need to bring a contest game face. Yes, and you need to, where would we start with? Decide. As a speech contestant, you need to decide you want to try to win the contest. You need to commit to do what it takes to win. Why do I say this? Because how do you go through 19 years of not winning and then finally win? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I decided there was one thing I wasn't doing really well, and it was knowing the rules of how to win a contest, especially at the district level, because I was winning at the lower levels area, club area. I was very comfortable there. Division was harder to win for me, but district seemed unattainable. The problem really was a mindset one for me. But where you start with deciding you want to win. You go find the rules where to win, and you talk to someone who's won district. Yes. You go and find an expert and talk to them, find out how they did it. And then you practice. Let me tell you a story about how this all came together for me. I went in my first time I won an evaluation contest was 2003. Then in 2008, I won again. I'm just talking about, I have a trophy shelf over here. Okay, you can't see it because my blur is on. But I have a trophy shelf over there. And I went through them last night and I took a look. And the last trophy I won is this one. It's the District 101 trophy. Thank you, Janet. Look, it's nice. It's nice. It's big. It's shiny. But it was all the other stuff I went through to get there that was the learning that made the difference for me. So what happened in 2014, I made it to the district stage, but I didn't even place. There were like, Kat remembers those days. I'm sure Ken does too. There were like 9 or 10 contestants. It was a massive contest. The last evaluator went up like an hour after the test speaker. It just felt so unfair. There was everything wrong with that contest, right? And then my friend Karen's like, hey, go talk to Christian Crump. He's won it. He knows how to win. Long story short, I didn't do that till 2019. And the first thing Christian Crump said is when I said I wanted to talk to him, he said, do you really want to win? Are you really going to decide and commit to try to win? Or is this like, yeah, I'd like to. It'd be nice. And I took a big gulp and I said, no, this time I really want to win. Yes, I really want to try to win. I really want to win. And from that point, he started sharing with me what he knew. There are rules to winning a district that there are not in the speech manual. You need to talk to someone who's done it. I talked to 3 different experts, 3 different people who'd won their district contests in 3 different districts. Because by now I knew a lot of Toastmasters and they were friends. You too can reach out to a district contest winner and find out, talk to them. They'll be happy to talk to you probably and tell you their tips and tricks It's more than I can go into in our short amount of time. Just remember, a contest speech evaluation is different than your regular club speech evaluation. You need to bring a contest mindset. You need to learn how to do it from someone who's done it before, and you need to practice. Okay, where would you practice? I know Mary Lou has an idea where to practice. You want to tell us, Mary Lou?
I would love to tell this story. It's short. A Toastmaster friend or friends, I have a couple of them, we meet on Zoom and together we watch a Toastmaster speech, a 7-minute Toastmaster speech. We stop that YouTube video. We give ourselves 5 minutes to write our own evaluation, and then we take turns evaluating that YouTube Toastmaster speech. And after each of us gives our evaluation, the other one or two will evaluate that evaluation to tell that person what they did well and what ideas they have to make that evaluation even better. And then we go to friend number 2 and then friend number 3.
Exactly.
Which is so fun. And then the cherry on top is to watch the evaluators in that evaluation. If it's an Toastmaster evaluation contest speech that we've watched, we get to watch the evaluators evaluate the speech and see what they did. Mm-hmm. You get so many ideas. It's a very rich and potent exercise.
It is, and it is a ton of fun. So thanks, Mary Lou. So go online, go to YouTube. Look for district speech contests. There are so many now because all the Toastmasters districts had to go online. Watch them and watch them with friends and evaluate. You evaluate the test speaker and give each other feedback on your evaluations, and then watch what happened with the contest and the contest evaluators. And I've seen world champions of public speaking doing speech evaluations there. How would you like that? So someone who won the world champion, like Verity Price, you can go online and find her doing a speech evaluation. Do you think that they might know a little bit about speaking? Yes. So there's a lot to learn out there. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears open. Get on YouTube. And when I was practicing for district, one last thing, I had these the world champion of public speaking semifinal speakers. You know, the ones who are trying to get into the finals. And I would watch them taking notes while they were speaking. This is the pro tip. Someone asked here's a rule that Toastmasters doesn't teach you that helped me win the contest. To take notes of a very, very good speaker while they were speaking. And then as soon as their speech finished, shut the video off, stand up and give a speech evaluation with 0 prep time. And when you drill yourself over and over again, you learn how to craft the language, how to respond quickly, and how to not be rattled when you don't have enough time to craft a good evaluation or what you think would be a good evaluation, and to put it together for yourself quickly. So that was probably when I went through the contests, one of the greatest benefits I had is I learned how to quickly identify and analyze what was going on with the speech, how to craft a specific response that was helpful, and the structure of how to put that together quickly so I didn't go over time. Because the most important thing in a contest is to stay in time. Don't disqualify yourself. Anyone ever disqualify him or herself by going over time? Yes, we've done it. And once you've done it, once you DQ yourself by going over time, you're really good about not doing it again. It becomes learning that lesson the hard way is great. So be specific. Enter the contest. It teaches you a lot. Talk to someone who's won a contest just a level up from you. You will learn a lot. And practice by watching other speeches. Just practice. No one has to hear you. You can do it by yourself with YouTube videos and practice that. You can turn on Udly AI and get yourself analyzed with the AI tools. There's a lot you can do. All right. But it takes time. Okay. And that's where it comes down to this. When you decide and commit, you make the time to practice and make it happen. All right. The third audience I mentioned was going outside of Toastmasters. And you think, well, again, evaluation is such an overlooked skill. When I was at Xilinx, one of the PhDs in the research department, we were saying we were having a discussion, and I believe he got up and just said this as part of the meeting. He said, the most number one skill that I've taken from Toastmasters, I thought it would be presentation skills. I mean, his English was a second language for him. He's an engineer, right? I was thinking, well, just getting up and speaking, that would probably be it. Mm-mm. His number one skill was evaluation, because as a manager of a department at a technology company where, okay, these are smart people, there's egos involved, there's a lot of intelligence, how to give feedback that's specific, helpful, supportive, motivating to the people in his department. He learned that through the Toastmasters evaluation practice and model, and it paid off because he freely admitted it. That was the number one skill that he learned at Toastmasters. What you're doing at the club level, that simple sandwich method, you can easily take that outside of Toastmasters and start using it and seeing how it pays off for you by being motivating, by being helpful. You might want to change the model a little bit. Maybe you start with, well, this is what went well, and this is what could go better. And you could be direct as appropriate to the person you're talking to. But again, how can you be supportive? How can you tell them what they're doing well? Don't forget that part. And by couching it in what went well, what could go better, it's not what went well, what went wrong. Right? You learn, you can start practicing that language in Toastmasters at the club level. And what the Pathways program tells you about using I-focused language, right? I saw, I heard, I felt, I heard you say this, and it made me feel this. I saw you do this, and it gave me this response and reaction. By making it your opinion, it can help craft language that gives feedback to people in your professional life that helps them to want to take action on what you're telling them. So, and again, this is where those improv skills help a lot. Yes, I heard you, and here's my feedback. I'm listening. I'm in the moment with you. I'm focused on a few specific things to take your performance up a level. And I'm here to make you look good, not put you down. You're my partner. I'm going to make you look good together. And that will build up your relationship with them and as a team player. So that's the third audience that I think we often overlook. But we're in Toastmasters, practicing Toastmasters skills, learning Toastmasters skills so that we can take them outside of Toastmasters and make it a better place. So our audience within the club, we're working with other members of our club to give them feedback, and we can give them more feedback. We can commit to helping them give more feedback, receive feedback that helps them to advance, not just regurgitating what we see, but giving them something specific they can get in their teeth into that can take them up a level. At a contest, you can really advance your evaluation skills on steroids when you decide and commit to go after what it takes to win at the next level up. And when you decide and commit to get better at it, evaluation and giving feedback outside of Toastmasters, that's when you start to hone your skills to really become can we say real life? We can start with what we learn in Toastmasters and take it out and spread it out to the world to ultimately make the world a better place, I hope. That's why we're involved. Okay, so any questions as we wrap up? Okay, Mary Lou.
I'm interested in the unwritten rules of the evaluation contest. They would be decide that you want to win commit, access a mentor who is an expert, and practice. Is there something else that I'm
Gosh,
missing?
I could when I contacted the champs to talk to them, it was like, what do I got to do? And it started with the commit. That's the number one. That's why I'm giving you that. It starts with deciding you want to win, not just, I'm going to just show up. They need a body, at the contest, whatever. You decide that you're going to show up to win. That is one. I mean, that encompasses your mindset, what you're wearing. You getting enough sleep? Are you dedicating the time to practice? Are you learning what? And then they talked to me for 2 hours, Mary Lou. I can't give you like 3 things and you'll win. You need to talk to someone who's done it and hear how they did it, because it's different for everyone. There's certain tips that I learned from Brad Jacobs that Christian Crump didn't tell me, and other things Christian Crump told me that Brad did not. So, and I talked to Gina Cefalu from District 57 as well. So, you just have to find your style and practice. And the time, most of all, be aware of time. Use your time judiciously. Be aware that in a contest, you're the star. You still need to make that test speaker look awesome and smart, but you're the star. So you need to bring something extra that stands out above everyone else. And you're really there to teach the audience. It's more like being a coach rather than, it's more gentle, I would say, in the club environment where you're being supportive and helpful. You're not expected to coach. You're a little more of a coach, I think, especially a district level contest. You're there to teach the audience. They heard the speech. They know it's good. What could make it better? Teach them what could make it better. Be efficient, supportive, specific, motivating, and give them a little extra showmanship that makes them go, oh, they need to win. We place them first.
Mm-hmm. That's similar to what Tran Pham wrote in the chat about. Tran observed there's an unspoken rule of showmanship. Be highly effective in the evaluation. Be the kind and entertaining and compelling. Bring your personality for the audience and practice every chance one gets.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Steve. I think this will be our last question.
One of the big things is just getting to know the judging form. That has all the points, and when the judges judge, it's a numbers game, and the one that gets the highest number wins. And a lot of people forget to do a summation at the end. Mm-hmm. I like this about your speech. You got to work on that, but do this moving forward. And then with like a minute left, start the summation, so you get all the points you can get, because that again that's the bottom line.
Right. And knowing the judging form as a contestant, so you reverse engineer it out. Right. There's argument about this. You always need to have a conclusion statement, especially at district level. You'd better have a conclusion statement. And why? Even if you hate putting one in there, because some judges want it. Okay. So there's another pro tip. Be sure to put a judging so you don't get crossed off, because they're trying to take in a lot of information. They're looking for reasons to eliminate you. Don't give them any reason to eliminate you. Stay in time, check all the boxes on their form, and then bring yourself to it. The more you practice, the more you do this, the more you find your style, and you can relax into that and actually start enjoying the contests. So that it's a process. So to wrap up my story, the judging form. To wrap up my story, I was on district stage in 2014, 2015, and then I was not. But I went to division level 2015, 16, 17. There was no contest in 18. And in 2019, finally, because I was showing up and trying again and again, and finally got it through my head. This is a bracelet I wore. It says humility, surrender, and connect. This is what I wore at all my contests. Why? Because I had to realize the way I wanted to win wasn't the way to win. I needed to reach out and find experts who could help me win the way that the contest required. So it was a wonderful experience and showing up, just showing up and trying again and again and again until everything, I found a path, is how I say it, until I found that path was well worth it. So giving that, I wanted to also invite you, if you're, oh, we're over time. I'm going to put a couple slides in the chat, and I invite you to keep in touch with me. And I also teach a mastermind on improv and speaking. And I have Shrudi's in it. Hello, Shrudi. One of my students is in here, and Lisa's here too. So please check that out and get in touch with me with any questions. Back to our Toastmaster.
I'll take it from you.
Okay,
Elaine,
back to Janet. Thanks, Janet.
I just wanted to thank you for your time. Elaine's always there for us. She comes to our clubs. She's at the district level. So you are so generous of your time, so talented. And this was extremely helpful for anybody who wants to give a better evaluation. You gave us some valuable feedback. So thank you, Elaine. Really appreciate it.
Janet. Great to
Thank
be
you,
here.
everyone. Yeah, let's give Elaine a round
I'm
of
a fan
applause.
of Janet too, by the way.